Saturday, 4:30 p.m. Jacksonville Jaguars, Kansas City Chiefs. Gentlemen, what say you? Who wants to take this game?
Legend versus legend.
That's right.
Generational talent versus generational talent.
Oh, absolutely.
The golden arm, but you don't know which one I'm talking about.
Oh, not at all.
Versus the golden hair.
Golden hair, yeah.
Yeah, more like it. Yeah. Jags are currently getting 8.5. Does that sound right to everybody?
Yes.
8.5. Okay.
It's a lot.
8.5.
That's a lot.
That's 8.5 is a lot, but man, that's gonna. I mean, they got their hands full playing against the Kansas City Chiefs. I mean,
They sure do.
The Chiefs are not the Chargers, right? We can say that for sure.
They are. Now, defensively, the Chiefs are 18th against the pass, so they're middle of the pack. So there's definitely chances that Golden Arm can can just throw his way into the AFC Championship game. But yeah, has there been a quieter MVP than we've seen this year with Patrick Mahomes? I feel like nobody is talking about Patrick Mahomes. Maybe they are, and I'm just not listening. But
I thought you were going to say Trevor Lawrence there.
Oh, yeah, no. Yeah, Patrick Mahomes first in passing, 5,250 passing yards. He's first in touchdowns with 41, first in QBR, whatever you think about QBR. He's first in it. I don't know that we've ever seen a more quieter MVP race than the one we've seen. You know, it was Tua, it was Josh Allen, Jalen Hurts, and Mahomes just quietly, without Tyreek, just put up, I mean, superstar level numbers that you would expect of him. So no reason to think he won't continue on with that. Travis Kelce, 110 yards this year, 1,300 yards, 12 touchdowns. Juju Smith-Schuster probably managed to get himself a little bit more money come next year. Almost 1,000 yards, not quite. But the player that he signed in 2021, goes on the IR, ends up playing against the Steelers in the playoff game, and just quietly had a phenomenal year as a running back, but as a receiving running back was Jarrett McKinnon. That dude, 9 touchdowns. Every other game, like it just felt like every single game Jarrett McKinnon was catching a touchdown pass. So this is going to be tough sledding for the Jags. I mean, but you know, who knows this? I don't even know what to say
when you're going against the Chiefs, no matter what. But
always, it's in Arrowhead.
The Jags are resilient. I'll say that.
Well,
they're young enough, and I think just ignorant enough to think that they could go in here and pull this thing out. And
I think you're right.
You know, we can say whatever we want about Trevor Lawrence, and I think we all like that arm was kissed by leprechauns. Like he is obviously, you're not going to see a guy throw the ball like he is ever again. And so just enjoy it. Enjoy it.
Well, the other thing, if you're the Jags too, man, you got a heck of a coach, and you got a coach with a ton of experience. And when he's able to come in with postseason experience and get that team ready, I mean, you know, we've talked about it before, but it's why they didn't panic against the Chargers. They were dead and buried, and they didn't panic. And that's a coaching situation. Yep. And that's the difference now. Of course, there's no mismatch as it pertains to coaching when you go up against the Kansas City Chiefs. I mean, Andy Reid is as good as there's ever been. So they lose that advantage. Now it's going to have to go player for player, and talent-wise, the Chiefs are clearly the better team and the better pedigree. But again, Jacksonville, they're a gutsy team, man. They're scrappy. They don't give up.
Well, Baltimore was able to have a game against Cincinnati because they were able to keep Burrow off the field.
Yeah.
I mean, these monster drives, just time-eating drives that we kept them off. Jacksonville can't do that. They're not going to be able to do that. But, I mean, you know, Trevor still had a good year. He's thrown for 4,100 yards. He has 25 touchdowns, 8 interceptions. It's a respectable year. So we give him a hard time, but it's a respectable year.
Very much so.
Yeah, the way I see this game, it's gonna, it could be close for 1 or 2 quarters, and then Jacksonville is just gonna do what it is, or Kansas City is just gonna do what it is that they do. You can't cover Kelce, you just can't do it. And I just, in the end, he once again will assert himself in that ball game. And like you were saying with McKinnon, he just scores in bunches. He ended up with 9 because it was like, one game he'll have 2. Next thing you know, then he'll miss a game, and then next game he'll have 2 more. So that's how his scoring and his offense went for him this season. So as far as the Jags and Chiefs are concerned, it's I believe it's going to be all KC. And to piggyback on what you were saying, Jeff, Mahomes had a very quiet MVP type year because I think we're falling into the situation, which I know all of us are huge fans of a guy. I don't know if you remember him from Chicago. He's number 23. He played for the Bulls.
Oh, yeah. I know you're talking about.
Michael Jordan. I think the J is
Elton Brand.
Swedish. Something like that.
Swedish,
people get tired of that one person that always is great, right?
Yeah.
And LeBron James right now, I know you guys feel about him, but people get tired of giving the person that's probably well-deserving of the MVP. So when a person like Jalen Hurts came into the scene, which we'll be talking about him later, is like, every all the eyes now have shifted over to him. Josh Allen had a good year. So now that's why, in my thinking, Mahomes has had a quiet MVP year just because he's been doing this for the past 3-4 seasons. You know what I mean? Like, what else is he going to do?
Yeah, right. You take it for granted at a certain point. Yeah. Yeah, that's true. We all have a tendency to assume certain things, and you assume that Mahomes is an MVP candidate every year. Like that's just the kind of the standard. So when he does that, it's not impressive to anybody. I mean, now the guy needs to go to 6,000 or 7,000 yards before anyone's even going to really pay any attention to it. And he might do that. He might do that, but it's like that's what it takes before you end up being impressed. So T-Rock, you were getting ready to say something.
Well, is this now? I'm sure everybody here's picking the Chiefs. But is this a trap game for the Chiefs?
We said the same exact thing. Yeah. I said this last week about the Bills and Dolphins. Yep. I said, man, I don't think it's possible, but boy, that feels like a perfect trap game. I doubt it is now because I don't think the Chiefs could see what Jacksonville did, how they won last week, and think of it as a trap game. Right. If they had blown out, if they had just completely destroyed the Chargers, then you would just, Chargers are going to be Chargers. Like, you don't really care. That doesn't mean the Jags are any good. But the Jags to do what they did, I think, is enough of a wake-up call for the Chiefs that it won't be a trap game. That's just my opinion.
Well, and there's a player we don't talk about a lot. I mean, his name is mentioned, but Christian Kirk is having a fantastic year.
Yeah.
84 catches, the best year of his career.
For sure.
1,100 yards. And so
they paid him. They paid him.
That's why they went and got him.
Yep.